You're listening to the Christian Indie Artists and Songwriters Podcast, the place where faith, music, and life intersect. We exist to help Christian indie artists and songwriters just like you get songs heard. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Christian Indie Artists and Songwriters Podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and on today's episode, we're going to say goodbye. To what, you ask? We're going to say goodbye to Season 2 because we are wrapping up Season 2 with this episode. Now, we had so many amazing interviews. We kicked off Season 2 with Joel Vaughn. We heard from Katie Reynolds. We heard from Olivia Lane along the way, Ben Lane. So many amazing interviews that I didn't even mention here. Go back and listen. We had over 24 episodes in this season. And it was an incredible time, and I hope you learned a ton. I know that I did. I often think about these interviews in my daily life, just all the wisdom and experiences shared, insights shared on just people's journeys, on how they approach their own music journey, but then also just in general, just the different things we hear from people and how they approach things, how they overcome their weaknesses or different things that happen, because we all face so many struggles. And I feel like that's the point of this podcast, is to let us all realize that no matter what stage of the journey we're on, we're all doing this together. And yes, each outcome, each thing we do is going to be different and unique to our own specific journey. However, we just have to get out there and do it. And so I hope that you've been encouraged by every episode so far, especially Season 2, as that's what we're wrapping up here today. And actually, it's really exciting. I also wanted to talk about Christian indie artists and songwriters in general. What is CIAS? I often ask myself the same question. So at the time of this recording, today is May 31st, 2021. Tomorrow is the beginning of our very first CIAS Songwriting Retreat. So we have 12 songwriters coming here from all over the country, all the way from the very tip of the west coast of the United States to the northeast coast, all the way up towards Canada, some people in Florida. We have people from Nashville, from Texas, from all over the place, flying into the east coast of Florida to spend this week together writing songs for God. Some varying levels of experience. Some have written tons and tons of songs. Some haven't co-written as much. But I know from my own experience, when I first took my first trip to Nashville, I know I've mentioned this before. When I took my first trip to Nashville back in 2017, I had no idea what the music industry was like. You know, I had some meetings with record label people. I had gotten to record and do some cool things along the way. But I felt like until I stepped into that first retreat back in 2017, I hadn't really experienced and been in the industry. And ever since then, honestly, it changed our lives. And what we're doing here through this podcast is a result of that. And especially as we look towards this songwriting retreat this week, which we're so excited about. We've been planning and thinking and praying into it for months. We honestly started this back in November of 2020 is when kind of the planning process started. And we didn't know what it would look like. But the fact that God has faithfully walked us through every step of the journey, and now we're actually getting to meet and write and encourage and do life with our friends and new friends and future friends. We're just so excited to see all God's going to do. So what is CIAS? What is Christian Indie Artists and Songwriters? Well, Brian Bolivar Music is my wife and I's music production company, where basically we are doing remote production for artists, helping people bring their songs to life is what we say. So that's taking work tape, songs recorded into your phone, and then producing them remotely all the way to being ready for release on Spotify or streaming platforms. So that's what we do. Brian Bolivar Music, that's what that is. But CIS is something that's sort of been developing on the side, and we didn't know what it was, to be honest. It all started with kind of this podcast was the first thing we put out that was like CIAS. And then there was a Facebook group, and now that's growing a lot. And then the retreat idea came, and then there's also a playlist. We've also done songwriting rounds, which has been a virtual songwriting round, which is really cool. So we also develop and put out content, YouTube content, to try and help indie artists and songwriters just like you get songs heard. That's what we say at the beginning of every podcast, and that's what we believe that God has called us to do this for. So CIS, it's a brand, and it's meant to be an encouragement. It's not necessarily, not everybody needs me to help produce their songs. Some people produce themselves. Some people have other people they work with, and that's great and that's awesome. But we feel like if we are able to help somebody with any step of the journey along the way, that's sort of what CIAS is. And I feel like God has been using it in a big way. Like I mentioned, we have a CIAS Facebook group, and if you're not a part of that group, just go to Facebook and search Christian Indie Artists and Songwriters, and you'll find it. You'll see our picture similar to the picture of this podcast. It's a growing community of indie artists and songwriters, and there's industry people in there. There's people at all stages of the journey, but people in there encouraging each other along the way. People, starting collaborations. That's actually where the only place we actually promoted our songwriting retreat to was our group. And at the time, it was much smaller, but we filled up our 12 spots pretty quickly. And we had a couple of changes along the way, but it's the main place where we're connecting. That's why in the notes of every single episode, I always put, come join us in our CIAS Facebook group to continue the conversation, because, these podcasts are very immersive and very personal. However, they're one-sided. You're listening to the interview, you're listening to a conversation, but on the Facebook group, it's an opportunity to actually be a part of the conversation. So typically everybody who's interviewed is also in that group, along with a ton of other people that are interested in chasing after this music thing. So if you're not part of that group, please go join now, and we'll get you in there, and then we'll keep the conversation going with everyone else. So it's a Facebook group. It's also a playlist. There's a CIAS Spotify playlist that's growing with a ton of the same artists that are in the group. And outside, it's a growing playlist of amazing Christian indie artists and songwriters putting their music out there, and it's a great hub to do that, which is updated regularly. So I have actually a link in my bio on my Instagram where you can go and you can submit your songs through an amazing service called SoundPlate. So if you have a song that you haven't sent over, we'd love for you to do that, to listen to it and see if it's a good fit for the playlist. And we also have a lot of exciting things that we're about to start announcing about CIAS as it continues to grow and as we continue to feel led to help serve this community. So stay tuned for all that. A great way to stay up to date with everything happening is head over to the website. It's www.brianbolivar.com, and you can download one of our guides. Once you download a guide, your email address will be put onto our list where we send out weekly content. Every Friday at a minimum, we send out content with something helpful and encouraging to help you along your journey. So that's a great way to stay connected. Also, too, like I said, we are going to start our first retreat this week. Actually, tomorrow is when we're heading down to the location. We've got people flying in starting at 4 p.m. So if you could pray for us, that would be amazing. But also, if you're interested in jumping into the next one, because we plan to keep doing these things as long as people are interested in joining, we're going to keep doing it. So if you're interested in that, we will have a more formal rollout of this. When you sign up for or jump into our Facebook group, you'll be the first people to know about it. And honestly, like I said, we've only actually rolled it out to that group. So if you want to make sure to stay up to date on that, make sure to jump in that group. Also, if you're interested and you just want to make sure, send an email to contact@brianbolivar.com and just say, hey, I'd love for you to fill me in on the details of that. And like I said, we're going to be rolling that out pretty soon. So just go ahead and send us a message, jump into our Facebook group. One of the main points of everything that the CIAS thing is I know how important it is. I mean, I'm down here in Florida. We're not near Music City at all. I don't really know a lot of people, a very few people I can think of, a handful of people in my area that actually are doing music, pursuing music. And that can get discouraging and that can get very lonely. But when we're all connected online, it can give us accountability. It can build real relationships, and it can actually help us continue on our journey in a way that we wouldn't be able to do without it. I know personally, without me taking that initial trip to Nashville and then connecting and staying connected with people through social media and the internet in general, it has literally led us to where we are today and changed our lives being full-time in this music production company / CIAS stuff. So it's important and it really does make an impact. So, I know I'm partial to the groups that we've started and that we host and that we moderate, but there's a lot of great groups out there. Just getting involved, just making some friends, making some connections is really valuable and will help you on your journey. So that was the main thing. This is a shorter episode because, like I said, when this episode goes live, we're going to be on day 3 of our retreat. So this episode is just a way to say goodbye to season 2. We really hope you enjoyed it. We're excited for season 3. We have some amazing episodes already lined up. We're going to kick off season 3 with Jonathan Jackson, my friend out of Nashville, an amazing songwriter and artist. We had such a great conversation. I can't wait for you to hear it. Also have a awesome conversation with my friend Marcos, Mr. Moss Music, Ryan Linton, and we're just scheduling a ton of amazing interviews that we hope to add value and help inspire you and encourage you along your way. So I hope you're having a great day. I'm so excited for season 3 to kick off. Until then, have a great day and talk to you soon. We want to help reach as many Christian indie artists and songwriters as possible, and one way we can do that is with your help. So if you could take a minute and leave us a review on iTunes, that would be so appreciated. This is how the iTunes algorithm will push this content out to more and more Christian indie artists and songwriters. So like I said, if you could just take a couple seconds, leave us a review, that would be so awesome, means so much to us, and we would really appreciate it.